Thank you for tuning in on AWANI with me, Nabila Khalida. And right now, we have this research that was done by Robert Walters that reveals a significant 57% of professionals polled have already started looking for new jobs, while 67% of professionals strongly believe that career cushioning will help them in getting their next job. And additionally, their survey reveals that misalignment with office culture and low job satisfaction are key drivers prompting professionals to explore new career paths. So to discuss further and for comprehensive insights into this subject, joining me in this studio is Hua Choon Gan, the Associate Director of Robert Walters Malaysia. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio this morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Nabila.
Amazing. So based on the statistics that was mentioned earlier, can you briefly explain what could be the factors of career cushioning and perhaps what are the findings and your reactions to the findings?
Thank you, Nabila, for having me. Career cushioning is not a new topic. It's basically being proactive in your current role to make sure that you have a second option when it comes to finding a new role. So basically what career cushioning means is basically being proactive when it comes to picking up a new skill, going for training and development, networking with industry professionals, and just staying relevant in your current role.
Actually, how does career cushioning influence employee retention rates? Based on the findings earlier, 57% of professionals polled have already started looking for new jobs, and 67% strongly believe that career cushioning will help their whole experience of getting a new job or career cushioning as a whole. So, are companies that support career cushioning more successful in retaining employees, or does it increase turnover by making employees more marketable?
I think there's two sides to the coin. So when you talk about career cushioning, candidates or employees that prepare for career cushioning are basically highly engaged because they pick up latest trends, they are familiar with what's going on in the market. So for example, if you're a finance professional, you are familiar with the latest IFRS or MFRS standards. If you're a tech professional, you are familiar with the latest cybersecurity trends or data analytics. So this gives you an advantage to your peers when it comes to attending an interview or even in your current role where your hiring manager notices that you're actually more proactive when it comes to embarking on your career journey. So career cushioning is actually a good insights for candidates to practice, and it gives them higher employability rate in the future.
But I would like one to know on the how effective is career cushioning actually, and what are the success rate of career cushioning so far that you find, and are there differences in job search outcomes between those who engage in career cushioning and those who do not?
So I think career cushioning is very effective because you are essentially picking up new skills, you're understanding the latest trends, and you're being first to market in terms of knowing what's going on in the industry. So whenever you meet a hiring manager or when you meet industry professionals, you're able to share your insights and give them new news that may not be familiar with them because of what you've done with career cushioning.
And in the long-term move, is it how does this career cushioning contribute to your long-term career path towards an individual?
I think career cushioning is a long-term progress. You don't just learn new skill and forget about it after that. It's a continuous learning progress. So you're always adapting and evolving when it comes to career cushioning. You are picking up the latest trends now, but eventually there are always new trends, right? I think the pandemic has taught us that we need to be highly adaptable and resilient when it comes to our role. Previously, before the pandemic, virtual interviews was unheard of. Everything was done face-to-face. Candidates or employees who was not prepared for embracing virtual technology tend to struggle a little bit in the post-pandemic environment.
But is this counted as a job hopping, some kind of thing? Is this the same as job hopping?
So job hopping is different from career cushioning. Job hopping requires you to actually change a job. Career cushioning is basically equipping yourself with relevant skills and information that you can then utilize either in your current job or for future opportunities.
What about you? Have you ever thought of have you ever considering career cushioning in your own career path, or perhaps do you have any example or success stories about career cushioning?
Oh, actually, I have done career cushioning in my own career. So I've been with the business for 10 years now. And throughout that 10 years, I've done multiple roles. I started as a consultant with the business, basically recruiting for accounting and finance professionals. And after a couple of years, I got the opportunity to manage a team. And then subsequently, I took on a new portfolio to oversee tech. So recruiting for finance professionals and recruiting for tax professionals requires two different skill sets. You need to understand the industry, you need to understand the candidates. So I need to equip myself with the latest trends, not just in finance, but in tech, which requires me to do career cushioning essentially, right?
But that's on your story. But in general, in Malaysia, how is the perception and prevalence and acceptance so far about this career cushioning, and what cultural or economic factors that contribute or influence its adoption here in Malaysia?
So in Malaysia, career cushioning is seen as a positive thing among employers. So when employees participate in career cushioning, they're actively involved in going for training and developments, they're picking up new skills, which then makes them perform better in their current role and become highly engaged. When it comes to exploring for new roles, for example, you mentioned about job hopping earlier. Candidates that do career cushioning can necessarily have a higher employment rate because they are in demand, because they have the latest trends or they pick up the latest skills. So there is good and bad when it comes to career cushioning. It just depends on how you perceive it.
Okay, so far we've discussed about the good of it. What are the bads of it? And perhaps what are the future disadvantages, maybe?
Okay, so one of the things I realized with career cushioning is sometimes employees are focused on upskilling themselves, constantly upskilling themselves, going for trainings, going for networking, picking up new skills. But sometimes they forgot about doing their actual role. As you know, you have a 9-to-5 job that you need to focus on. And sometimes when you're so focused on career cushioning, it may result in you exploring things, not focusing on your current role, but instead networking, meeting industry experts. Yeah, so that's probably a slight downside to career cushioning. And at the same time, because of career cushioning, you are also highly employable. So coming back to your factor of job hopping, people who participate in career cushioning has a higher chance of getting employed. And it will then result into them maybe changing a few jobs during their tenure.
But usually, how does organization accept this kind of career cushioning decision towards your workers, because they will lose, like for example, their favorite staff or employee. So how does their acceptance or the trends or markets for organizations?
I believe employees leave for three main reasons. First one being financial, second is growth, and third is culture. So for employers to retain employees, it's important to always have a growth mindset for their employees. Give them a clear career projection in terms of where do they see themselves in the next 2 years. So this usually happens during appraisals or catch-ups, where you can have a plan for your employees to tell them, okay, this in the next 2 years, this is what I need you to do, and if you achieve this, this is your next role in our organization. And secondly, you need to reward employees with high performance, who are performing highly. And it can be monetary and non-monetary benefits. So the monetary benefits everyone knows, but sometimes what employees want is a pat on the back or a show of good faith saying, thank you for that hard work. I appreciate what you did on that project recently, and the organization highly values your skill sets. And lastly is about culture. So we talked about culture a lot in the recent pandemic, where organizations are embracing work from home or work in the office. So having that flexibility is what candidates currently look for. And I think if an organization have a healthy culture, they will not have any issues retaining existing employees.
And another thing that we should look at is how can actually companies or employers balance investing in employee development with the risk of increased turnover due to career cushioning, and what strategies can companies use to ensure that these investments benefit both the employees and employers and fostering mutual growth of development?
Okay, so I think when it comes to investing in talents, you will never not benefit from it, because a highly engaged talent will result in higher performance for your organization. So whenever you invest in talents, they're going to return it back to your organization 2-3 times more. So I think it's always encouraged for employers to invest in their employees. And I think if you want to retain employees, I think the 3 factors that I mentioned earlier is something that you need to consider. And employers shouldn't also be worried about employees leaving, because to be honest, we can't stop them from leaving. What we can is create a pathway for them to continuously grow in their current role, to keep them engaged, and then they will eventually stay.
But let's be honest, the organizations will support them anyways. But how about their relationship between the employees and the employees, and perhaps ex-employees? How is their relationship will be doing after that?
I think transparency between hiring managers and direct reports are important. So if you have open transparency with your peers, or if you have your hiring managers, you will be aware of what are their challenges, and you will be able to anticipate what happens before they actually tender their resignation. So I think apart from career cushioning, and maintaining a highly engaged workforce is very important in maintaining employee engagement.
Earlier you mentioned about this career cushioning is actually focusing on upskilling and also reskilling. So what are the specific skills that actually in demand right now?
So as you can see, ESG is a big thing now. AI is coming into play. A lot of organizations are going into automation. Data analytics, data science is also a big topic. So these are some of the more common skill sets that are highly in demand at the moment.
The new economics, I would say. Yeah?
Correct.
And what are the future market trends that you foresee moving forward, and especially in the whole job satisfaction, perhaps productivity, and the whole, I would say, sumber manusia. I forgot the English term for that, but sumber manusia, the whole future trends of it.
Well, I think the trend is moving towards automation and digitalization. Organizations have to adopt to the new ways of working, be it in terms of automating certain processes, embracing technology. ChatGPT is here and here to stay. A lot of organizations no longer use manual transactions. So implementing robotic process automation, for example, is important to stay relevant in the current industry and trends.
So anything, before we end this discussion, anything that you want to say to all the employees, all the professionals that wish to do career cushioning but is perhaps scared of what their boss is going to say? So what are your advices to them?
I think career cushioning is an important skill set for you. So before you think about career cushioning as a negative thing, think about upskilling yourself. At the end of the day, you are in charge of your career. You need to stay relevant in your current role, and having the skill sets necessary to do your current role is important for your future progress as an employee. So never stop learning and always have that growth mindset.
So that's a little bit of advice from Hua Choon Gan, the Associate Director of Robert Walters Malaysia. Thank you so much again for coming, and thank you so much for sharing the research they've done by Robert Walters, and perhaps to have a session again with you in the future. And that's all for now. And you can find this whole discussion on all of our social media platforms. And thank you so much for watching.